Joe and Kristin, do you want to make an intro and explain who you are?
Sure. My name is Joe.
That makes me Kristin.
And we're known as the Merrills. And we are from South Florida, both educators. I'm a first grade teacher.
And I teach fourth grade. And so we just enjoy sharing education, a little bit of our /family married life mixed in there. It makes for some good commentary. And we just enjoy connecting with educators around the world. We're super excited to be here today.
And Brandi?
Hi guys, I'm Brandi Reams. I am from North Carolina and I teach kindergarten at a small school here. Extremely excited to be here presenting with Joe and Kristin. It's been really fun working with them to put this presentation together, and I hope that you guys will enjoy it and take some great ideas away from this.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody will be, minds will be going with all the cool ideas that you're sharing today. And just one thing to let you know as well, out of all the ideas that I shared, please let us know which one's your favorite or any ideas that you have on #Wakelet Community Week. We'd love to see any ideas you have. But just before we get started, should we shout a few people out in the chat? I just clicked in the chat box and over 100 people have already commented saying where they're from. So maybe we could just shout out a few people real quick. So we have Ryan from Pennsylvania.
There's some from Malaysia, Tunisia, Ireland, Poland,
Alaska. Hello.
good old Texas. Oh, Miami. I saw Miami in there.
Peru, Puerto Rico, Colorado. Wow, it's going too fast. I can't keep up.
I know. Salisbury, NC. You're close to me. I'm from Eastern North Carolina.
We have Bulgaria, England, New York, Morocco, Canada, Egypt. Wow.
Portugal.
This is so crazy. Palestine.
So I can see Rick from the Wakelet team join us from Manchester. So hi, Rick. And James from Wakelet as well. Well, yeah, should we get started now? I think the bulk of people are joining. It's still going up a little bit, but it's good to let's give you more time to share as many ideas as you can. So just to let everybody know, ask any questions in the Q&A chat. I'll try and answer them as best I can. And I'll shout out if there's any questions that maybe you guys can answer. But I'll just jump off the screen now and mute myself and feel free to get started.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here so that way you guys can see. There we go.
There we go.
We move that out of the way there. Okay, so welcome everybody. We here today are talking to you about Wakelet in the classroom. We're very excited to have you guys all joining us. Really, really, really awesome individuals here. Over 400 educators. That's crazy. So thank you guys for taking some time out in your morning to spend some time with us and learning about Wakelet.
Yeah, we'll just do quick introduction just in case you guys logged in before. Go ahead, our friend.
So I am Brandi Reams. I'm from Eastern North Carolina. I teach kindergarten at a small school here and have been using Wakelet in my classroom for the last 2 years. I was really excited to learn that I was one of the very first educators to ever use Wakelet. And so it's been amazing to watch how Wakelet has evolved over the last couple of years. And I know I learn something new every day just in putting this presentation together. I learned a few things from Joe and Kristin. So I hope that you guys will take some things away from this too that you can use in your classrooms.
And
you're so kind.
Yeah.
The same way, we've learned so much from Brandi as we've been doing this, and we're the Merrills. Obviously, I'm Kristin, which makes him Joe. And Wakelet's one of our favorite tools. That's in our ed tech toolbox. It's something that we enjoy sharing with people and trying to just think outside the box on how you can use it and how it's so different for everyone. And that's what makes it so magical to me.
Absolutely. So let's get started. When you log on to Wakelet, there is so many possibilities that we just wanted really quickly, for those of you guys that maybe weren't familiar with it, to kind of get an idea of what those possibilities look like. So when you first log on to Wakelet, this is what you're going to see. And there's all kinds of options for you, whether you're a Google school, a Microsoft school, anything like that. You have opportunities to add content. easily right within your first collection.
Yeah, and so as you can see here, Brandi, what are some of your favorite features that you like to add when you make a collection?
Well, I really love the YouTube feature. For my littles, I have a lot of videos that I show them, and they love Harry Kindergarten and a few of those other big names. So we do a lot of those YouTube videos. So I love the embed feature here. So instead of going out to YouTube, I can just click on that button and search for whatever I'm looking for, and I can select as many as I want to add to my collection. So I really like that one. And the upload PDF button was one that I had begged for, and that made life so easy when it came to sharing resources with families. So that one was really good.
Yeah, I would say that was one of my favorites too. I also, as an educator, I really like the tweets one. I like to be able to curate other things in addition to just my content for my class. And then obviously the Flipgrid Shorts camera, which we will talk about here.
Oh, yes.
But as you can see, there's a little bit of everything for everyone. So if you're, you can kind of lean to the things that you're more comfortable with, or the things that you tend to use more, and then adventure on the ones that maybe you're not as familiar with.
So one of the really neat features that's embedded right into Wakelet is Immersive Reader. And if you're not familiar with Immersive Reader, it's a Microsoft tool that's been built in where text can be read aloud to students. So the cool thing about it, though, is that if you have students who maybe aren't necessarily speaking the language that you're speaking in class, they're able to translate it to whatever language they might need to understand that content. And it's just a huge tool that's free, and it's really powerful. And we'll show you what that looks like, actually. So here, when you log on to Wakelet, you look for that little icon. And once you do, this video on the left here is what you're seeing. And there's all kinds of tools there for the kids to pick from, or parents maybe, if you're working with parents. And so it opens right up, and there's this awesome platform for them to pick from and choose from.
Yeah, like Joe said, it's really great. You have that equity among students that may not all speak the same language. Or to me, if you're trying to share things possibly with other educators around the world who may not speak the same language, it just allows that barrier to be taken down, which is so important. Brandi, you have a couple other reasons you really like to use it.
Yeah. So to piggyback off of that, sometimes you have students who speak English, but then their families at home don't. And so, this is a really good way to kind of bridge that gap as well. So you may be putting out a newsletter and your student might know what's going on, but the parent might be clueless because they can't read English or whatever language it is that you're typing in. So that is a really great feature to help with them. But then for our younger students, it's amazing to be able to type something up there for them. We're going to be talking about centers later and different things. So if you type something up there, they can push the button and listen to it. And then for special needs students, the accessibility for them is amazing. So you have students who may need things read aloud to them. So if you have something set up, you can have the questions that need to be read aloud or whatever it is that they need. And then they have the ability to click on it, because sometimes you just need that little bit of extra help. And this is a great tool to help with that.
Yeah, it was, originally designed for students with dyslexia. So there's a lot of features like line focus and font size and color and things like that you can also explore. But again, it's one of those tools that has so many uses. It's so broad that so many people can find, and it is embedded in Wakelet. So we just felt the need to kind of share that as we go through our collections today.
Right. So when your students log on, sorry, I thought there was something else there. No. So let's talk about the features.
So in addition to Immersive Reader, there's also a couple other features that tend to get glossed over that we thought would be important. And so the embed feature, especially with teachers like us with remote learning, and we have specific LMSs that we are required to use, there's have that consistency with parents. So all their kids on all the different, schools have the same platform, but Wakelet can embed right into there. So you can create your Wakelets and do things the way you normally would, and then embed them right into that platform. And then there's another feature.
Well, real quick, I would like to say, so I like how you can adjust the height on, they have a lot of options there.
Oh, that is true.
So
the designer here.
Depending on where you're embedding, you can really get in, fine tune all that. So make sure that it looks appealing and it fits the needs of your students. So
Absolutely.
Brandi,
If anybody was in Mariah Rackley's session right before ours, we had a lot of questions about whether or not she has a school website or if her Wakelet was in place of the school website. And so the embed feature is an option for you to embed into your school website. So that's a good one for you to check out later.
Yes.
Brandi, I know that you really like this one.
This is
as well.
all you. This is one of your favorites.
It is. Okay. So some of you might be like me and my colleagues where you have to share your weekly newsletters. I do my weekly newsletters in Wakelet, bye paper, because they don't read that anyway. They take it home, they throw it away, or it gets lost on the kitchen table. So now when you do your newsletters in Wakelet and you have to submit them to your administration, all you have to do is export it as a PDF, download and upload that to wherever your administration requires you. So that might be through email, it might be through something like Schoology. So if you have to share your newsletter quickly and want an easy way to do it, consider this. It is also live. So when you download that PDF, you can still click on the links that are in there.
That is so important. Like that just opens up so many possibilities of what you can do and making things, accessible in whatever format. So I love that one.
Yeah. And as if sharing wasn't already easy enough, there's also all these other options that you can use for Wakelet to share.
Great features.
And so when you click that share icon, you immediately get this window that opens up here, you see in the middle, which offers lots of different options. So you can pick and choose which is the easiest to deliver your content to your students, whether it be a QR code.
People love QR codes.
Yeah, they do. You could copy and just share out the link, or the very popular Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams embed is right there, so you can
Twitter,
just launch
Facebook,
it right there.
Mind. I mean, the idea again, the accessibility for educators to pick and choose how they use it, where they use it, is just what makes Wakelet.
Yeah, and I think that QR code feature is really cool because we've seen a lot with like QR hunts and things like that, where like you hide QR codes around the classrooms. It'd be really cool to create different collections and assignments and hide them across the classroom, where kids have to then go and scan.
And App Smash with other apps that also have QR codes, you could really build something fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Wakelet for teachers. So what we thought would be really important was to show you as an educator what to expect when you're using Wakelet and kind of go through
and
some of those things.
And how you can use it as an educator.
And how you can use it, yep. So one of the easiest ways to get started with Wakelet, if you have not used it, is through newsletters. And so when you use Wakelet to create a newsletter, you can use things like headers, announcements, subjects, anything that you want to get out to your families, you can put on there and deliver that easily. Think of it as almost like just sharing out a link in an email, You can just deliver that right to your parents that way, and they could access it. And Brandi will go into it a little bit in more detail here in a second, because she goes above and beyond with what she does with her parents. But when you do this, you kind of start off like this, where you have a cover image, a header image at the top, you add your titles, and then you start adding your content. So it's literally like as simple as like a 3-step process.
Yeah, and the importance of this is to make learning authentic, right? You want the learning to come outside of your classroom. You want parents to be involved. You want kids to be able to share what they're doing. So if you're already working in Wakelet and you're already doing a lot of things, the ability to just copy it over, create it into a newsletter, it's a simple way to share, but you want those simple shares. You don't want to have to go through 18 other steps to do it. But if it just stays within your classroom, it loses a lot of its power. It loses a lot of its importance in the eyes of children. So a newsletter is a really easy way to kind of start using Wakelet, start curating what you're doing and communicate. And because of that immersive reader embedded into it, it really does make it a great meeting point, especially if you have parents that you have a hard time to connect to. Now, click that.
Click what?
Click the next. Go to the next slide.
Oh.
This is one of my favorite reasons why you want to do it in a newsletter.
One of the best things about Wakelet is all the different tools that you can embed right into it. And one of our favorite happens to be, and I'm sure Brandi's favorite too, is Flipgrid.
Yes.
So the Flipgrid Shorts camera is embedded directly into Wakelet.
I mean, I don't even know where to start because we only have 40 minutes. So there's filters, there's text, there's pause features, you can record, you can re-edit. I don't know this is true for everyone, but it's true for my own children, and it was true for the kids in my class. They live in a digital age, and you can write something in as big a font as you want and colors and arrows pointing. They don't read it. They literally skip it. But the minute you put a video up, click, and they watch you say the same thing. So I really love the ability to put directions and things like that. Or shout out to parents. Like, I think Mr. Merrill got to the point where he just did video newsletters, period. He didn't put anything. The parents knew they were going to get 60 seconds of a rundown of what was going on. And so the shorts camera really is a good feature to have in here. And the ability to like swap it all around. You can always change it around. There's no like rigidity in Wakelet, which also makes this feature nice because you can kind of move it to wherever you like it to go. But this is just like newsletters 101. This is like the Merrills, we like to kind of give different levels of usage here. So this is just an easy way to use, Wakelet as a newsletter. We need to turn it over to Brandi though and let her share a little bit about how she does this. Like, we're going to call it like the level up or, because this is truly amazing.
All right, guys. So I have been using it for a really long time now. And what I do is I create weekly newsletters. And I do some of the same things as the Merrills. So I will give my parents a rundown of what's going to happen in the week, things that they can look out for within the school, important dates, all of that good stuff that you need in a newsletter. But then I also take my lesson plan and I break it down inside of my weekly newsletters. So whatever standards I will be teaching for that week goes into Wakelet, and I section them off. And when I do that, I add content to it as well. So I might add a PDF that might be helpful. YouTube resources are a big thing. Story time is really big in K2. So I might have a video of the read aloud that we're going to be doing for the week. So all of those go into my Wakelet. One of the things that I love the most is the fact that I send this out on Sundays, and some of those kids, especially our special needs population, need that pre-teaching. And what that is just giving them access to the materials to get familiar with it before you jump into it. Because some kids, it takes them a lot longer to process. So, they may be sitting on the carpet listening to you, but they don't really know what you're saying. But if you give them prior access to it, then they're able to go ahead and start processing what it is that you want them to know. And then when you bring it up in your classroom, they don't feel left out anymore because they already have a one-up. They already know what it is that we're going to be doing. It is also really great for parents because parents that went to school long ago, like when we were in school, things are not the same anymore. That we teach things totally different. There's new ideas and new ways of doing things. So by providing them with those resources, they're able to help their kids at home. So definitely make those newsletters on Wakelet so you can have live ways to show parents. It's interactive. One of the things that I also like to do is, it's like Kristin was saying, what you do inside your classroom is great, but you have to be able to share that with other people or it kind of loses its meaning. So throughout the week, if there's a project that we're doing or something that the kids are really active with, take snapshots of those or have them record in Flipgrid to add to your newsletter throughout the week. That way it's going from, just here's what we're doing to here's how we're doing it and here's what it looks like in action.
Yeah, I think that's so important. This idea of letting parents in on the learning as it's happening, not just after the fact, giving these kids a chance to kind of learn ahead and not being worried about, oh, you've already read the book yet, I have to read it first, or those kinds of things, letting them feel that confidence when they come in, that they know something of what's going on. And not every student's going to do that, but giving that opportunity, I think, is something super important. I'm really glad that you kind of touched on that.
This is phenomenal too, by the way. Like, just looking at this again, like, it's just a tremendous hub of a resource for your parents and your students. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah. And, you know, another beautiful thing is you don't have to have an account to view this. So when we're sending this out to parents and making it public to them, they don't have to sign up in order to see it or anything like that. It's just a one click and they have access to it.
Perfect. And another thing I like about that too, I'm glad that you mentioned that, is not only do they not have to have an account, but that link never changes. So
Right.
as you were saying, you give them the link on Sunday, but I want to go add in this, or because you know, as educators, we're constantly changing and revising things, or you want to add in different stuff, but that link will still stay the same for parents, so that they only have to go to that one place. So I like that too, to kind of piggyback off what you said.
Yeah.
So
this is Brandi again. So Brandi, would you like to walk us through how you copy your collections?
Oh yeah, so I am super big on not reinventing the wheel. So once I come up with a template that I like, I copy it from one day to the next or from 1 week to the next. So during this whole coronacation that we've been going on, you know, not to make light of, you know, the whole situation, but, you know, we did need to lighten it up a little bit for the kids who did not understand why they had to stay home. You know, instead of having the weekly lesson, I did it day by day. That way the kids had something to follow at home and the parents had something to follow, and give them some more context rather than a weekly overview. So instead of redoing it every single day, I copied from one day to the next. And then when you copy that, you can readjust the content that is in there. So you don't have to completely reinvent it. You can just tweak what's there so that it'll make your life a little easier. The same for like if Kristin had something that I loved and she had her copy feature turned on, I could copy her collection and then tweak as I needed to.
Yeah, and then you also build with sections too, right?
Yes. So in order to clean up my profile page, if you have been using Wakelet for a while, you will notice that when you make something public, it just goes straight to your profile page. And after a while, it can get overwhelming to try to sort through what's there. So Wakelet was gracious enough to create these categories. So in order to create a new section, when you edit your profile, you will see a little button that looks like this, one that's circled in red, add a new section. So you'll click that and give it a name. Once you've done that, you can add your different collections to that section. So there's going to be a little drop down button. So you click it and then you just click whichever category you want it to go to.
And I really like too how when you created this section, you used the emoji, which I thought was really powerful for littles because, you know, they may not be able to read show and tell, but if they know to click on the cheetah or whatever, the tiger,
yeah.
then they know where to go. So yeah, I thought that was really awesome and really powerful. And, you know, if you just Google like emoji copy, there's a website that comes up, and I'm not sure what you did to you, but you can use things like that to just paste emojis right into your text boxes. And I mean, how genius is that, though?
Yeah, and so let's piggyback off this curation and using these different sections. So another way I think you could use as a teacher, and this is a way that I'm going to be using it this year. I guess I could let the cat out of the bag. I have been currently an English teacher. I teach reading and writing, except next year, cat out of the bag, I am now going back to teaching all the subjects. So now I'm going back to teaching science and math and all the things that I may not have been teaching before. And the teacher that I shared my kids with is doing the same thing. So we're both kind of in this boat now of having to kind of relearn some subjects. And so we're going to use Wakelet as a team for planning. We've created sections, just like Brandi did for her website, of all the different, you know, subject areas we teach. And then we're going in by quarter. Right now, we've just got our quarter one in there. But then we share it with our team. And as, again, that PDF feature, now I can take the resources that I've been using for a long time that I really like that are on my jump drive or on hard copy, and I can put those up. But then I can also share out new things that I find and tweet ideas and, you know, any link or video or YouTube or anything that could be used for teaching within that standard. And my whole team has it. And it gives a lot of collaboration, but everyone can kind of also choose what they're going to teach within that collaboration. So I know a lot of teachers take the summer off too, and I do take plenty of time off. But when I find something that I know hits what I'm going to be teaching, I like to be able to kind of curate it and collect it. So I'm really excited to be using the sections in that way this year.
Yeah, the collaboration on it behind there is huge. I mean, just think like you have a whole team now that's adding content to it, which is so.
And if you find an educator in the same state that teaches the same standards as you, then you could also share outside of your school as well. It doesn't have to be within your classroom, but I got to make sure it's all there before I share it or copy it. Like you said, someone could be going through and say, oh, I teach in Florida and I teach narrative writing. I want to copy that Wakelet and share that with my team. And so it just, again, the possibilities are just endless in how you could use it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is now we're going to talk a little bit more about using Wakelet with students. So that was kind of like more the educator side. But now what about our students? Because really that's what we're all here for, right? Like what ideas can we use to work with them so that they can get the platform going and using it in their own
creating,
creating.
Demonstrating their knowledge and their learning as well.
So to get going with this, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that your students know how they can go about collaborating. And we went back and forth as a trio because we weren't really sure how educators are using Wakelet to log on, because the way that I use Wakelet to log on with my students was different than the way that the ladies were. And so, I think
great minds think alike, Brandi.
I'm with you, Kristin.
That's why she's #best Meryl. But so anyway, so what we decided to do is talk about them all. So when you want to share the content with your students, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to click on the contributors tab.
Yeah, because this is going to let them actually go in and add to it, whereas before they may just be able to look at it.
Correct. So then what you can do is you have a few options now. The first thing you can do, and I'll let Brandi take this, she copies the link.
I do. I copy the link. I literally press copy, and then I click the plus and click paste. And so it generates it for you. It is a one click. So parents don't have multi-steps, because I know with most parents, I'm not going to say just my parents, but the more steps you give them, the less likely they are to do it. And it's like that with students too. So, they just kind of brush it to the side and like, that's too much. I'm not doing that. So if they are able to just click it, it will open straight up into the collaboration. So it will be in edit mode. And so all they have to do is add whatever it is that they want and click save and exit, and then they're good to go. I know that has been that's been a really important one for me, because over this whole, time period being out of school, we had to have some way for parents and families and students to collaborate and share their work, show their work. Even though we weren't taking grades, we still wanted to see that they were learning and getting it. So this has been a big one.
Yeah, this is a good one for me too, for like working on Teams. My class worked a lot on Microsoft Teams, and so being able to drop a link right there was an easy way for them to add something. And it's also really awesome if you're doing things like HyperDocs or things like that, where you can link in things. We'll get there a little bit later. It's a good way to share.
Speaking of the HyperDocs, you could always just use the QR codes. So you could just download that QR code right there that's circled in red, and then you could paste that on your presentation that you put up on your board, or maybe, like I said, you print them out and you hide them across the class.
If you're in the class.
If you're in the class, true.
And then you have the copy code, which is the one that took me a little bit, but it wasn't really
that hard. Which is the one that I use, by the way.
Maybe that's why I didn't figure it out as fast. But it generates this copy code for the kids, and you just give them the copy code if you don't want to give them the whole link. Or again, if you were in the classroom, you write on the board. I know Mr. Merrill had a spot in his classroom with different apps and logins that he would change each day as needed, like Nearpod and Wakelet. So you could, put that on your board. And then the kids just go to wakelet.com, and then they type in that code, and then they're taken to that.
Yeah, that's the video that you're seeing on the right there. So they click on that enter code option, and then once they do, they enter in their name, hit join, and boom, they're in. It's really simple and easy.
Which is the way we like it.
That's right.
All right, so let's get some ideas going.
So how about in centers? You can definitely use Wakelet in centers. And this is one way that we've used it. And it's really easy to do. You just build up your center rotations for the week. For example, if you're looking at my group A here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a video set of instructions of what they need to have done for that particular week. In my class, I don't really mind if they do things out of order. So they can kind of pick and choose what tasks they want to accomplish first and last. However, all of them have to be done by the end of the week. When you're looking at this, there's just different tasks set up. You can add things like Brandi mentioned, YouTube links, or you can just have the text on there and external links. Like, for example, there's a Flipgrid link right there in task number 2. That will lead, when you click that, it'll lead them out to their Flipgrid topic. Now, the thing that's really neat about this, again, is that Immersive Reader is all built in. So once they do click on that, then all the text is read to them, which is pretty awesome.
And what's neat with that copy feature is now you have that chance to differentiate. So now maybe I create it with the most activities and all the things in it, and then I'm copying it out, and maybe it's lessening the load, maybe it's adding some different things in there. Maybe this group might need different video directions, or would be better if I read the story to them, or you guys know your children best in your classrooms and you know how to differentiate. But that idea of being able to copy it and not having to add everything over again allows you to kind of make those in that seamless format.
Yeah, so it's really easy just to rename the collection too. You just change the title there and then you're golden.
So show student view here.
Yeah, so let's see what the students see. This is what it would look like. And again, this is just a week of centers that we've got set up here, and it's all kind of in this real nice flow straight down the list so the kids can go about doing it. And Brandi, I'm sure you do a lot of this with your kindergartners.
Oh, we're gonna level it up now, because just like newsletters, you could create a simple newsletter, and Brandi leveled it up and made a website. We've got a really great idea for you on how you can level up this idea and take it a little bit further.
So before I think we got to there, we have to add the section titles, right? Yeah. You
could add section titles.
Kristen's trying to jump ahead. So
I'm so excited. I want to level up.
So when you're doing this, and Brandi's going to share even more about this, but so and she actually did already talk about this. So when you are creating your groups for your centers, when you do that, you can actually add them as sections on your main Wakelet page. Mm-hmm. So then you can just have your students go right to your main Wakelet page, and then you can adjust the groups accordingly and add the collection of the content.
And they could work from home if they were sick, or if the kids didn't finish on time. Like, how many of those kids do you have when their parents like, can you send them all their stuff so they can work? And you're like,
yes.
Yeah. And you have to go gather it from all the different places if it was already in one place. And just a drag and drop. Everything's so easy.
Yeah.
Okay, now
let's go to Brandi.
Now
Ready?
All
right. So here is my letting the cat out of the bag. This is something huge that I'm going to be working on. There are a few educators that I have in mind that I'm going to reach out, and we are going to collaborate. We talked about collaborating earlier. So another way to kind of level up that classroom centers, giving them the tasks, creating the groups, is to flip your classroom. Some of you may be familiar with that term already. Some of you might not know what that is. So if you're flipping your classroom, that means that you have given instruction to your students, and now you are giving them the time and the space to complete it. And usually this is done with some kind of digital technology. So when you use Wakelet to flip your classroom, you are able to kind of go in and create choice boards. So here on the left-hand side, you will see my flip that classroom page. So this is a collection that I have created. Well, inside of that, there are other collections that give the students choices. So you might have them working with sight words in a sight word center. So they would open up that sight word collection right there that you see, and they will see video of me helping them and guiding them, leading them through the activity. So they may have the little letter tiles in front of them, or if you're in high school, it may be some kind of experiment that you want them to work through. It may be, testing soil samples or something like that. So you use the Flipgrid Shorts video or camera to create little videos of how to go through and complete an assignment or a task. But then they have the task materials in front of them. So they are seeing you do it, but they have an individualized or small group approach where they can do it hands-on. So I'm really excited to collaborate with other educators and build to this. So I'm hoping to find a few people in maybe 3-5 middle school, high school that kind of want to collaborate and start flipping classrooms for teachers across America and possibly across the globe. So in America, we have Common Core state standards that a lot of people still use. Some states have broken it down, but in general, the standards are still very similar. So the hope is to tag the standards, and teachers can go in and search at the top of the Wakelet page. There's a little search bar. Search for whatever standards it is that you want. Copy that, and then you can use it in your classroom with your students. So
I love that idea. And I love the idea, again, because now we can copy it. Let's say I was a kindergarten teacher, which hopefully will never happen.
Hopefully not.
Because I need a little bit older. But if I were, let's say I got moved to kindergarten and I needed resources, I could take yours. And if Florida is a little bit different, I can edit, because that's the beauty of Wakelet. I don't have to take it exactly the way it is. And so I can build off of that and work to what's best for my students. And I also just want to say on the right, just the immense, I just love the ability to just even use the text tool to put in your directions of this is what you're going to need for this activity. Here's me walking you through it. For the older kids, you might even have them add something at the end, to show their learning, to kind of show that authentic learning, to demonstrate something that they did. So you can really not differentiate, but you can really build it out to kind of based on the level of your kids. I'm super excited about this. And hope it really catches on.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because you're right. It's nothing to pop in a collaboration link. So for older students who are tech savvy, they can maybe record themselves doing the experiment or snap a picture of their final project and upload it. So not only are they now doing the center, games, tasks, whatever it is, but, I know in my class, I did it, I'm done. But did you really? Did you really do it? So now you're allowing them the opportunity to show you that they did do it. So, and you can adjust. Yeah, you can adjust this to each level. So, it might be a group A, B, C type of thing. Give them choices, and it's also self-paced. So, they can read.
I like that. Or branch it out over the year. Maybe you start the year with just kind of doing them, and then you start to teach them how to use this. And then say, okay, now we've just been working on now I want you to go in and add a picture, or now I want you to go in and add a sentence, and whatever it is that you're doing. I think it's really awesome. A really awesome idea.
I love the integration of all the other tech too. So speaking of that though, that's a good segue. Choice boards.
Yeah, so people love choice boards, and I just love, again, giving kids freedom, giving the kids the ability to kind of explore through their learning. I love Buncee. It's one of a great creation tool. And so I kind of took the idea, if you're familiar with HyperDocs, they also do something called tech sets, where they create these boards where the kids aren't really required to do anything in that moment. It's to engage them. It's to introduce a topic. It's to get them thinking about an essential question.
Build that background.
Build that kind of background before you can't formulate any opinion on anything if you haven't done the learning. And so you could do this in Buncee. And so I thought it'd be really fun. You create this Buncee and all those links are integrated, and they were live right in the Wakelet. So the kids just clicked them right in the Wakelet and it took them out, and they could go in and research. They could watch their videos all on this topic. And then because I teach 4th grade, okay, after you explored this tech set, now let's talk about it. Now let's answer this question. But what's really nice about creating the choice boards in Wakelet is that you can then also insert them any other place you want. You could insert them into Flipgrid and say, okay, now that you've researched it, now let's discuss it. Or, so and you can share it and do all that other stuff. But I really loved the idea of having those links. And you can take this again as far as you wanted. I created, the Buncee and the presentation, and the kids looked and researched. But they could create one, and they could be collaborators, and they could all create something and put it on that Wakelet and share with each other as well. So that's another option to kind of take it a little bit step further.
And I love the idea of you're launching the background knowledge here by putting the content out there, but then you can even revisit that by sharing that Wakelet link in someplace else and then revisiting that and then building more off of that. So that's really, really, really powerful.
Yeah, and you could do this in PowerPoint. You could do this in Google Slides. I chose Buncee because I love the design capability and how easy it is for kids to use. But there's so many ways you could create that choice board. Now, in this example, all the choices were in that one piece on the Wakelet, so you could almost have like a bunch of choice boards in one. Or
you can do something like with a mood board. And a mood board looks kind of almost like a Pinterest board kind of feel to it, where you have different slides that kind of move around the screen. But what you can do is you can arrange and embed different Buncees in this example right into the board, and then you could have all of the Buncees pop up on one Wakelet collection. So think about this for a moment. If you had an assignment that you pushed out to your class, you said, okay, guys, I want you to work on this Buncee presentation and then share your link back to me. So let's say they're using Microsoft Teams or something like that. So you get those links back from your students. You can embed all of those links from all of your class, from all the students in your class, right into one Wakelet. Put that onto the board so now everybody can see all of those embedded projects now on the board. So you're just sharing.
I'm thinking of it in a completely different way. I'm thinking of it like kind of like you, Brandi, not so much of like I did it, but those kids are like, I'm done. I don't have anything to do. And so this choice board, if you make it like a mood board as a teacher, okay, if I'm teaching main idea, I'm going to find out all of these. I can create all of these different activities within these collections, put them all together within that collection, and then they have all these different choices to choose from within that one thing that can hang somewhere in my class on a QR code or can live wherever you want it to live. But I can curate things for the kids to do in a choice board in that sense too.
Yeah.
I'm
just
done
kind of
now. What?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So some other really cool ideas for littles. Go ahead, Brandi.
All right, so this is a show and tell. I wanted a way to keep my kids engaged over the last few weeks, but this is something that can continue into the summer, just to kind of keep them hanging out with their friends. This is even something that you can do throughout the school year. I know we have so many standards to pack into our school year. We don't often have time for show and tell anymore, but that's something that little kids love. I mean, how many times do they sneak a toy into the classroom and show their friends, or, you catch them trying to trade things. So now giving them the ability to do show and tell at home, turn on that, what's the word I'm looking for? The moderation, so that you can check it out before it is published, just to make sure that everything's all right before you definitely let it go live.
Always a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with littles.
And then you have something else that you're working on.
And this
is
a great idea, I gotta say. She was sharing this idea, and we were like, oh my gosh, we have to put this in. But the idea of teaching tech to kids the beginning of the year is important. And if it's a tool that you're going to want to use, I use tech on my very first day of school. I also have my kids paint, and we've always survived. So the idea of like introducing it right away, if it's something that you're committed to using, we value, and this is a great way to do it, Brandi.
Thank you. So the world is kind of crazy and up in arms right now. And I think it's really important to teach students at a young age that they are valued, their culture is valued, that they're not a number to us, that they are a unique person, and that their lives matter. And so I had the idea of creating a class family tree. So what they're going to do is they're going to go in at the beginning of the school year, and they're going to just kind of either create a Flipgrid short where they are telling about their family, their, something unique about their culture, just kind of giving some background into who they are. And then that is going to be on our page to explore. That way, they have a sense of belonging and that they're loved. So
I love it's a class family tree too.
Yeah.
And the idea that all the kids could be collaborating on this one collection, so they can all see each other too and see the diversity and see the uniqueness in each of them, add to it throughout the year. I love it.
Yeah.
Like a family portfolio instead of like a school portfolio.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly.
So we're gonna fly through these next couple of slides. We got this. So all right, here we go. You could also use it in vocabulary. I thought this was a really neat idea. And I'm going to try to use this in my class. This was just an example that we came up with kind of at the last minute. But if you were talking about vocabulary in your classroom, maybe you were reading a story and you had a set of words that you wanted your students to identify and to define, you could do this in Wakelet very easily. I just listed some directions there on the left. In the middle, there's the directions. And then they can go and they can add an image. When they add an image, they are going to upload that onto the Wakelet collection. And so if you look at it carefully, you see that the word was humid. So you had to find a picture that represented humid. And Callum, you did a great job on this assignment. I got to say, it rains a lot in the jungle, so it's humid. So you even added some text there. And so think about this in a classroom setting. You'd have a class list of different images, and they could compare.
It's a virtual word wall. It allows kids to go back and to use the words once you've already taught them for the week, because we know that just teaching vocabulary out of context does nothing. You know, in my class, I could see my kids reading the word in a book and going into the Wakelet and typing in the paragraph or the sentence where they found the word in their own book. You know, and just kind of reliving that word throughout the year and allowing them, you could tie in your centers, go back to the vocabulary wall and pick a word. There's so many different ways you could do that, but it'd be really fun to do it with vocabulary.
Yeah. Okay.
And then standalone projects, you know, Wakelet's great. This is something that I did the very beginning of remote learning when we didn't even know if we were going back to school. Like, we didn't know. We went on remote learning during spring break, and then we were off for a week while everyone tried to figure it out. And so I created the entire project in Wakelet. So I found the template. I did not create it, from another educator. And it was like for who would win. It was rhino versus hippo. So I went ahead, found all the links and the videos and the research on all the different animals. I created a video for my kids with the directions. I linked it to teams because my kids were already used to being in teams, but you wouldn't have to. You could do other things. And they could have put their projects right back onto that collection, but everything was in one place. I shot out the link to parents and said, hey, if you guys want something to do, here you go. And you can even do this over the summer. You know, here's a quick activity for the week. Yeah, so I added YouTube videos, external links, directions, resources, and the best part was I could go back and edit. So they'd go, oh, I forgot this. Go back in and edit. Oh, that wasn't clear. Go back and fix it. So that was nice.
So our good friend Paul West has some really amazing resources that we'd like to share with you guys. The first one was this list of Google expeditions. So it's like a virtual field trip that you can create for your class. So what he's done was he's actually listed a bunch of different places, and he's got some assignments that go in there as well. And he can have his class go on to those different links, access the virtual field trips, and then complete the assignment that goes along with that. If you'd like to check this collection out, you can scan that QR code that's right there, and it actually is going to take you right to this. You can copy it for yourself.
Yeah, and the presentation will be available afterwards, so if you don't get it right now, you don't have to worry. We'll be sharing it out.
Yeah. Next up is a Genius Hour project. This is also from Paul. Again, he was doing some, his class was doing some work on sketchnoting and learning about how it all started. And again, he's got some resources listed for them, building that background knowledge so that they can then go on to the next level. If you'd like to download this for your collection as well, there's the QR code, and you can share that with your class. Sorry, I'm going really fast, trying to get through. Well, next up is a digital breakout with our friend Carly Mora. Carly's got a bunch of digital breakouts here embedded, and all the students will do is they pick their breakout, they go on, they work through the assignment, and everything is right there in one spot. Again, the collection is there for the taking.
Yeah,
if you like.
An educator can take it and just share one of the breakouts, or share as you feel led to. But again, a nice curation of things for teachers and resources for you to use. Digital, that wild robot one, I want to. Girl.
And as we mentioned throughout the whole presentation, there are so many amazing integrations that work within Wakelet, which is why Wakelet is so incredible, because you can use things like the Microsoft Suite, the Google tools, Screencastify, Remind, Bunty, all those things work seamless with Wakelet. And so when you have that relationship with other apps, you can really make some truly magical things and really creative experiences for your students.
And as an educator, you can use it as you are comfortable. If you're like Brandi and you want to create your website and your newsletters and have everything curated on Wakelet, now she's going to do Flip Classroom. You can do it allows you to do all of that. But if you're also really into Teams or OneNote or Flipgrid, you can still use Wakelet and find ways to use it that work for you on that level of usage, which is really neat.
Yeah.
Tons of ways to pair them together.
We'll let you take this one. These are some additional resources.
All right, yeah, so I thought that these were some good ones to highlight. I am loving Mr. V's take on student collaboration here. And again, you can scan any of these QR codes in order to have access to them. So, but Mr. V was doing a project with his students, and he was able to go through, give them all of the background information that they needed. He incorporated Flipgrid Shorts to give them some more instruction, and then he provided them with the collaboration link so that they could respond. Samantha Schaffner, my good friend, is a middle school ELA teacher, and she uses Wakelet as blended learning station. So, you know, she uses it a lot as exit tickets and entrance tickets. And then she just has some really great ideas. So she's a really good one to check out. If you are a middle school ELA teacher, history teacher, both of them have really good ideas. Then right here on the right, I left you guys an idea of how my students were able to collaborate and add pictures of what it was that they were doing. So this is an unlisted collection. You will not find this on my profile page. So if you want to scan that QR code, you can see how my 5 and 6-year-olds were able to use Wakelet to show me what they were doing.
So wait, that answers a really great question. Does that mean that you're able to share collections if they're not marked as public?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if it's unlisted, you can share it with anybody. You can send it through an email. You could put it in your Teams, whatever it is that you're using. It's not going to show up on your profile page, but you can still share it with others. So.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw that in.
Now, we flew through that, so I apologize because we're kind of coming down to the end here. But if you missed any of that, all of those resources that were being shared, these are all available in the Wakelet Educator's Guide. This is an ebook that is free for you to download. You can do so on this QR code right here. And it is chock full of resources and information on how you can get started with using Wakelet within your classroom. I gotta say, it's probably one of the first things that I went to when I first learned about Wakelet.
It's really well put together.
It's very well put together, and it's a really great tool, which is free. So that's awesome. And I think that about does it for us. So if you guys have any questions, we're going to stick around here and answer some of the chat and stuff. Excuse me. But if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to Brandi or us. Our information is right there on the screen. And Brandi, if there's anything else?
Nope. We're here for you. So if you have questions, reach out to us on Twitter. You can also find more information about us on our Wakelet pages. And we hope you enjoyed and learned some new things.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, we're going to stick around here for a couple minutes and answer some questions. So if you have some questions that you would like to have answered, by all means, you're free to stick around. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you guys the next time around.
Yeah.
All right, so lots of messages. Let's see here.
So many messages.
Let me stop by sharing my screen, actually, because they don't need to see that.
Joe, there's been quite a lot of messages throughout the webinar about embeds and where they can go. Could you maybe cover a bit of that?
Sure. So one of the ways that I was using Wakelet was our district uses Canvas. So that was our LMS. What I did was I took the embed code from Wakelet and I copied that, and then I went up to Canvas and I just embedded the Wakelet right into Canvas. So then it actually went right onto my page. So when the kids logged onto the page, it just was right there and they could scroll through the Wakelet collection right on the Canvas page. Now, if you don't use Canvas and you're using something like Squalogy, I'm sure it's very similar, where you can just copy that embed code, paste it right into your page, and then it should be able to display properly. You might need to adjust the width and things like that, but it'll all look great. Same thing with Microsoft Teams and Google Classroom. If you're using those two platforms, again, all you need to do is copy that information, the link usually from Google Classroom, and for same thing with Teams, and it'll be there for them.
Yeah, but if you're also an educator and have like a blog or something, and you want to, use Wakelet, you could curate a whole bunch of websites, and then that's another place that you could embed that Wakelet into, to like your own website or blog. So then when people come to read, they can just scroll right through your Wakelet and look through those things seamlessly.
One thing I'd just like to add on to that as well is that we also have Wakelet on the iOS and Android apps. So if you're somebody that doesn't always want to be at the computer when you're curating or viewing the collections you've made, you can always access them again on your phone. So I definitely recommend checking them out as well.
Yeah, that's been a lifesaver for us.
Sorry, Joe, what were you saying?
I said that's been a lifesaver for us because one of us always has a really great idea, and then I always have to follow up on it. So
shade in this presentation.
No, I said you got the good ideas.
And just a few things to cover before we finish as well. This session will be recorded and will be sent to everybody. So hopefully we will send this as quickly as we can. But we'll be sending a collection of resources with the recording, also a certificate of attendance. So be sure to share that out on Twitter once you receive that. And I saw a lot of people asking some questions about, are there any other webinars that sort of run through the platform from the very beginning? We do host Beginner's Guide to Wakelet webinars every week as well. So be sure to check them out, and I'll share the link to them in the chat. And yeah, we'd love to. Sorry, go on, Kristin.
So I just saw a really good question, and it was good because it was one that I had to figure out. It was asking how to add collections to your sections. So you have to go to your profile and click Edit Profile, and then any collections that you already have in sections will show, and your sections will show. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, all of the things like that you have not assigned to a section will be there as unlisted, and you can do that. So if you're trying to like go backwards, you've already created the collections and you're trying to put them into the sections, you can do that. And if they don't appear, just refresh your page.
Yeah, and I just noticed another question right above that too. Does it integrate into Seesaw or ClassKick? That's our good friend Heidi. Heidi, how are you? It does integrate into Seesaw. All you would have to do is copy the link to the Wakelet collection, paste that into the link in Seesaw, and boom, you're golden. ClassKick is a little bit different. ClassKick does a great job of updating their app like all the time. Like, it's so hard to keep up with them. So I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but you can put links into ClassKick, so I'm sure that it would work.
You should try it out. Let us know.
Let us know.
Tweet it out.
Yeah, and then there was one about Google Classroom. So if you have your lessons already done in Google Classroom, you can curate them into Wakelet. You can either do it as public or unlisted or private. So that's just as simple as copying and pasting your links. And then every once in a while, I also run beginner webinars. I do them myself, but then Wakelet helps me promote them. And so be on the lookout for those. But those are kind of workshop sessions where you can sit down with me and actually start creating your Wakelet, and I'm there to support you and answer any questions that you may need.
And be sure to follow us on Twitter. We always share cool ideas from other educators, new features we're bringing out. And also, if you're new to Wakelet or you want to find out some more about our features, we have lots of help material on our YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out, or give that a subscribe if you want to check out any of that content out.
And
we'd love to sorry,
presentation out too when you send out their certificates and stuff. We would like, so that people could go back and look at it on their own time.
Yeah, sure. So all the sessions that we're running throughout this week, we are creating Wakelet collections that will have the recording of the session alongside with some tweaks that people have shared, and obviously the resources that you share. So we'll add in the presentation resources and your Wakelet profiles and how they can contact you as well in there as well. Everybody receives a certificate and a ribbon for the session as well. So we are encouraging people to create collections of all the ribbons that they've collected throughout the week. And yeah, we'd love to hear any ideas that you have, any new ideas that have been sparked from what Kristin, Joe, and Brandi have shared, or any ideas that are your favorite from what they've shared on Twitter with #Wakelet Community Week. We are actually giving away some really cool prizes, so a few devices. So we're giving away an iPad, Chromebook, Surface Book Pro, some Amazon vouchers, and also some Wakelet swag every day. So be sure to tweet out #Wakelet Community Week with your favorite ideas at any time during the week. Each tweet counts as a new entry, so be sure to share any ideas that you have on that, anything any feedback that you have on any sessions.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so yeah, is there any more questions that we can answer finally? I know we're coming right to the end here.
What was the hashtag again?
I can't believe that there's still 400 people on here. What? Thank you all so much.
No.
Out of your busy day. Like, we know that there's so many other places things that you have to do right now. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to spend the morning with us and morning depending on where you are, I suppose. Sorry, to spend some time learning about an awesome tool of this.
Yeah.
All right, Callan, here's one that you might be able to help with. So I teach FE students who need to read an extract from a novel. If I put the extract on Wakelet as a PDF or Word document, can they use the immersive reader? Or can they only read my instructions that I have typed on the page?
So that's a great question. So we have the immersive reader integrated into the notes that you add to Wakelet. And we also have it integrated on links that you add. So we have a feature called read mode, which allows you to extract the text from the articles that you add into Wakelet and then use immersive reader on those articles. At the moment, unfortunately, that doesn't work yet on PDFs or Word docs. But yeah, on sort of articles that you add, it does work on there.
So maybe you could copy and paste that text into there, just making sure that you're quoting and giving all credit where credit is due.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thanks so much for everybody that's attended here. We've had a crazy amount of people and so many amazing ideas coming through the chat and lots of questions. And thanks so much again to Brandi, Joe, and Kristin for taking the time out to share this amazing session. Hopefully, if you know anybody that didn't attend this session, or if you're watching this again after, this will be available on YouTube. So feel free to share this with any colleagues that couldn't attend. And maybe you could watch it again, maybe just to take some time to take in some of these examples. But yeah, again, thank you so much. We will be sharing a link to all of the other sessions that are happening through Community Week. We do have another session starting in around half an hour, which we're really excited for with Ken Shelton. And then, yeah, we'll share all the resources via email.
All right.
Any last words, Kristin, Joe, and Brandi?
Just thank you to everybody for joining us.
Yes, we're so happy to connect and stay connected. Don't be strangers. If you need help with anything regarding Wakelet, you can contact any of us.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Okay. All right.
See you guys.
Thanks so much, guys.